Also, just thinking about ceramics as a medium is all about metamorphosis. You take earth, soft earth, and it's really mimetic. It takes anything that I do. If I stick my fingers in there, it'll hold that impression. And until I fire it, it will continue to change. Or I could throw it in the water and it'll break down. But once I fire it, it goes through this metamorphosis. This hot kiln changes the thing. And so I think that other aspect of change is also part of it, is a part of my work, that idea of metamorphosis leading from one thing into another. I'm Daniel Duford, and I work in clay, drawings, and I'm a writer. I was really interested in primitive kilns, so I hand-built the kilns out of clay. And at some point I realized that the kiln was as important as the piece inside. For me, that kiln started to change my way of thinking about ceramics as it's just a tool to get to this finished piece that you put up and say, look, it's all done, but to think of it as this constant, ongoing process. And I'm just like looking at one of the new pieces I'm working on. This is continuing my interest in basically three-dimensional comics, and thinking about comics as something that has physical presence. I'm returning to my interest in the form of ceramics, the sensuality of these storage jars, but then bringing this other layer of sequential storytelling, and looking at the vast history of two-dimensional imagery on pots. The imagery is of a cremation, and then the other side of the pot is the imagery of a bread oven. So those transformative effects of fire, I think I'm really interested in. You suddenly have this, like in a single thing, a very complex relationship. So then what happens if you have several of these on a table? I think one constant of the American identity is that identity is mutable. And so I think that's kind of something that runs through my work. We are always changing. When you try to stop something and say, I want to fix my identity in this sense, you actually stop living. And I think life is change.